Okay, so we are now recording, and again, this is going to be a very basic 101 on how to get your command set up so that you can use Docusign and have everything connect back into command. The very first thing that you need to do is make sure you have your Docusign account actually created, so that anything you do inside of Docusign will then get synced back here into command and make the whole uploading process of your documents that much easier for you. To be able to do that, you do need to be logged into your command, which I am currently logged into mine, as you see here. You need to go into the top right corner and the drop down arrow next to your name and go to settings. This is going to let you view any applications that you can connect to your command. As you can see here, the first two that I have connected are Docusign and .loop. Now again, .loop is officially going away as of the 31st, which is tomorrow. So it'll still show that I'm connected, but I'm not going into .loop anymore. I will not be doing anything inside of .loop. Same with Alex and Kieran. They are no longer going to have access to .loop to be able to look at your documents in your loops for compliance. So everything that I'm talking to you over the next couple days is our new compliance procedure, okay? So Docusign is this very first one. As you can see, it shows that I am connected right here. If you are not connected, you will have this button over here colored into that kind of blue teal option. You're going to want to go through and set up an account with Docusign. If you need help doing that, feel free to reach out to me via email and I can walk you through that process, either by setting up just like a one-on-one call with you to actually make sure you get your account set up through them. But right now, this is how you would check to see if you're actually connected to Docusign or not, okay? So to go through these next steps here inside of command, you don't need to have your Docusign account connected to do these next two things. However, I recommend if you realize that you're not connected to reach out to me as soon as possible, and I will walk you through that actual startup process for you, okay? So once you confirm that your Docusign account is connected and you have created that, you're going to want to come back into command and go to this little fun people person icon over here on the top left. Clicking on that, that is going to take you into your contacts database. This is going to be a very key portion of setting up your command for compliance. You need to have a client in your contacts database for you to be able to create an opportunity. So this is very important here. Once you go into your contacts, the top right-hand corner is this blue icon here that says Add Contact. By clicking on that, it's going to pull up a separate sheet here for you to fill out. The only required bit of info here is that you provide the full name of whoever you're dealing with in your transaction. Okay, so full name, you would provide the first and last name in this field here. If you would like to provide more information, like their phone number and email, you are more than welcome to do so. The more info you provide here, the more things you're going to be able to do with this contact inside of command. Okay? But for the needs of compliance, the only thing that's required is their full name in this first field here. So once you provide that information and anything else that you'd like, you scroll down to the very end of this contact sheet and hit create, and that is going to add the contact into your database. Okay? So once your contact is in there, the next step is to go into this icon over here that are of two hands shaking. That is where you're going to go for opportunities. An opportunity is going to be your placeholder for all of the information dealing with whatever transaction you're going through, whether it's a listing, whether it's a buyer or if you have some type of a lease situation, you would want to create an opportunity for that transaction, okay? So to do that, same thing as when you're creating a contact, it's located in the top right. This button is a teal color and it says create opportunity. Again, it's going to open up another form for you to fill out, providing the information of the specific opportunity that you are dealing with. It's automatically going to auto-populate your market center that you are a part of and that you are the owner of this opportunity. If you're on a team, the owner is going to show the rainmaker of the team, okay? The next very important field that you make sure you want to fill out is the type of opportunity. If you're working with a buyer and you leave it as the auto default, which is listing, when you're looking at the checklist of required documents, it's going to show you a listing checklist instead of the buying checklist. So you want to make sure you click on this arrow and choose the correct opportunity type, whether it's listing, buyer, and again, for if you're doing a lease situation, you have a landlord and tenant option on here as well. So once you've chosen the type of opportunity, you want to select your client. This is why they need to be in your contact database. If they are not, when you start typing their information here, it's not going to pull anything up. Since Gia is in my database, it goes ahead and pulls up her full name here. So I can click on that and it's going to fill in the field here and it will let me now create the opportunity. Opportunity name is like when you were in Dotloop and you were naming your loop. We ask that you name your opportunity the property address. If you're working with a buyer at the very beginning of the transaction, you may not necessarily know the property address. So to leave it as the default name of your client dash buyer is fine. But we just ask that once you do officially know the property address to come back in here and change that info. The reason why we ask that is because a property address is more unique than a last name. There could be lots of Joneses, lots of Smiths, Johnsons, all of that stuff. So property address is just easier to search. So we're trying to make Alex and Kieran's job a little bit easier there. So again, change this to property address. The next required bit of info is your commission rate for this transaction. I understand usually the total commission rate is around 6%. Do not put 6% here because you more often than not are never earning 6% on a listing. You're usually earning like a 3 or a 4% depending on what you've negotiated there. So you want to put here the exact commission percentage that you are receiving on your transaction. Now, if you are working with a listing and a buyer on the same property, you're working both sides of the deal. Again, you still would not put 6% here in your total commission rate because you need to create two separate opportunities, one for the listing and one for the buyer. So on each side, you would put more often than not 3% here, okay? These last two required fields, opportunity phase and opportunity stage, is you need to select this to active and negotiations in order for Alex to actually do the official compliance piece. So once you are officially, you have that closing date set, you want to make sure that you are at the very end of the sales pipeline. Otherwise, Alex is not going to be able to look at your documents. Okay? So obviously, if you're at the very, very beginning, don't put this automatically to active and negotiations because you're not at that stage yet. But if you're ready to submit like your green sheet and stuff like that, you need to make sure that the opportunity phase and stage is at the very end of that where you're looking to get your commissions. Okay? So then you would create, and that would create your opportunity for you. I'm going to come into my All Opportunities tab to show you everything that I've actually already created inside of Opportunities. So I can show you what the details look like and what your checklist and placeholder is going to look like as well. So I'm going to choose this very first one here. When I click on the opportunity, it brings me into my detail section. This is where you need to be able to edit the opportunity name. So if you're working with a buyer at that very initial stage when you're creating the opportunity and you don't know the property address, but now you do, you would come back into your details, hit that little pencil button right here up next to the general information. And that's going to let you come into the opportunity name, and it's going to let you name the opportunity the property address. Okay, and then you would hit save, and that updates the information here for you. To view your document checklist, you need to be under the Documents tab right here. Okay, so I'm underneath a listing opportunity. So it's going to show the documents that are required for once you are listing a property, when you're under a contract, and when you're closed. So there are 3 different parts of that transaction over here that are going to require different documents. So I'm currently under, when I'm listing a property, it shows that you are required to have a fully executed listing agreement, a residential listing data entry form, our Keller Williams seller's disclosure, and an MLS printout showing active. Those all have required written underneath that heading, okay? So again, this is just a checklist. It's also your placeholder. So once you have your document signed, this is the final aspect where they have to be uploaded into Command. So that is the required piece I want to get across to you guys. The only thing that is required in our compliance piece is that they end up, all of your documents end up being uploaded here into Command so Alex has access to them, okay? We're not telling you that you have to use Docusign to have your documents signed. You can decide what e-signature platform you would like to use. The office is just no longer under contract with Dotloop, and we are no longer going to be paying for an office account. We are paying for a Docusign account so that you don't have to pay that additional charge. It's included in your monthly bills. So if you would like to continue using Dotloop, you are more than welcome to do so. You would just have to sign that agreement with Dotloop and pay a monthly fee to have access to Dotloop going forward, okay? So again, whatever way you sign the documents is up to you. The only required piece is that they are uploaded here into Command. If you are using Docusign to sign documents, to get access to Docusign, you would go to this Go to Transaction button inside of your opportunity, and that is going to make the final sync over into Docusign. Okay, so that's all I'm talking about today. Just to recap, the 3 steps in Command to have access to compliance, and if you're using Docusign, is number 1, you have to first connect to Docusign in your Command settings. You then have to create a contact for your client in your transaction. And then you need to come into Opportunities and create your opportunity. Okay, once you've done those 3 things, you can then go into Docusign via the Go to Transaction button, and you'll then have access to all of your documents. Okay? So I'm going to pull back my window back up here, see all your lovely shining faces. Let's see here. I think I might have had, oh, hi. Hi, Kathy.
Hi there, Lauren.
So if anyone has any questions now, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask them at this time. If we have no questions, again, this has been recorded. So I'm going to post it to our Facebook page so you can go back if you need to look through this again. Tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to do much more of an in-depth deep dive into Docusign itself so you can figure out how to upload documents, how to prepare the documents, and then how to send those documents off to be signed, and then what that looks like to actually come back in the command and upload them here. So again, this was just very basic, making sure your command was set up. Did everyone here on the call already have their Docusign site created? Okay. Well, let's see here. Yes. Perfect. Yeah, awesome. Great. Yay. I see you all are using the chat, so that's awesome. So Kathy, you're set up, Carol is set up, and Jenny is set up. Perfect. Okay, well, I hope to see all of you on our call tomorrow because like I said, it's going to be a more advanced deep dive look into Docusign. But I hope you all are prepared and are all good here, but I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Stay safe, stay healthy, and continue doing your business.